What's up YouTube? This is going to be your guide on how to use Manaphy in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section, check the playlist out and see what I've done. And if you enjoy it and it helps you out, drop a like and let's get into it. So Manaphy is a interesting Pokemon with an extremely solid base stats all around. Mono water type and a very good way of boosting its special attack. So we've got 100 and everything, really good, and it just came out shiny, so I thought maybe a few people may be interested in knowing some sets for it or whatever like that. So our first one we're going to cover here is the typical Tail Glow sweeping set. So its ability is only one of them. It is hydration. So virtually this Pokemon stats are going to get cured at the end of each turn if it's raining, right? So that's, you know, drizzle and such like that, or rain dance. So typically it would be good if you were using this on a rain team with something like Pelipper or Politoed, something like that, or, you know, Kyogre, whatever sort of format you're playing in. This could be very useful. And yes, that does mean you can teach it rest, and at the end of the turn it'll wake up continually over and over again each turn. So this is my set that I like to run on there. I think it's probably the best offensive Manaphy set. It's mostly standard stuff and a little bit of more gimmicky on the item. So we've got Tail Glow. Tail Glow is the best boosting move for special attack in the game. So it boosts by 3 stages. So use it once, 3 stages, use it twice, you're at max special attack already. And it does enormous amounts of damage. Best sort of water move it's got is Surf. Yeah, that's pretty standard all around there. I don't know if it does get Scald though. If like you could give it Scald if you'd like to do a burn, but I feel like you want the most base power out of it. So 90 base power, right, with Surf. If you want to try and go for a burn on it, I feel like that's better on more support style sets. So that's why I've gone for Surf for. Ice Beam's always good for coverage, you know, against any other grass type Pokemon, dragon type Pokemon, you know, things like that. Always a great coverage move. And of course, we've got Terra Blast here. So I said this so many times in mono water Pokemon, I love Terra type ground, right? It works well across the board and it can definitely get you so many openings to get yourself a Tail Glow. So say someone's going to use Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Thunder Wave, right? Boom, you can set up on them straight away and get a free Tail Glow. You could even get a second one in the right situation there. And you've got a powerful ground type move to use against electric type Pokemon and steel type Pokemon as well. So it's very good. And then, you know, if you're Terra Ground, right, if any fire type Pokemon come in, well, you can just hit them with Surf then, can't you? So it's pretty dang good. I really like Terra Ground on mono water Pokemon. Works great. Now with hydration, definitely you could have that on a team. So I'll suggest some teammates and stuff afterwards. But yeah, always good in the rain because that's gonna power up Surf. Or if someone tries to burn you or status you or anything like that, it's going to heal the status at the end of the turn, which is very handy. Now, the item I gave this one was Salac Berry. With its speed stat, it's pretty fast, 100 base speed, but there are Pokemon that are faster, and Manaphy actually has some reasonable bulk about it too, which is kind of nice. So generally, I'd say you'd be finding it'd be pretty hard to one-shot Manaphy outside of a powerful, super effective move. It's typically going to be able to live one move, and yeah, that's where the Salac Berry comes in. It's more gimmick though, because you're sort of hoping for it to, you know, sort of roll into that a quarter max health. But I found a lot of the time it did actually happen there, and I did get that speed boost, which is quite handy. There are some other more items you could use on it. So for singles, you could have heavy boots on it, heavy duty boots. That could be definitely handy. You could put leftovers on there. Try leftovers. That could definitely work as well. I wouldn't worry about anything like anything like lumber or anything like along those lines because you've got hydration, right? If you were to drop like Tail Glow, which I don't know why you would, you could put Assault Vest on there, but I feel like a lot of these items could actually work. Now, you could opt for a weakness policy set, but, you know, with Tail Glow already, I don't think so. I think you're going to get a Tail Glow up and you're not probably going to need that. So you could try weakness policy on there or something like that. That could work. But there's quite a lot of items that you could possibly run on this Pokemon. I think it works well with a lot of them, really. So any of those items that I've listed there are going to be good on there. I just like Salak Berry on there because it does give it a chance of getting a speed rise. And that way, then you can really start outspeeding some of the faster Pokemon in the game. So yeah, that's a pretty, in my opinion, that's a pretty dang solid set. You can hit absolutely everything right. As for other Terra types, I'm trying to think of anything else I could sort of do here. You could have... Ooh, if I was going to Terra, you could go Energy Ball and Terra Grass. That would be another one I'd go for. So yeah, this will allow you at least, so say electric type is like a move, or a grass move is using at you, that's going to be great. So I would say that's the second best Terra to use on it, which is grass. I still always say ground is the best on mono water Pokemon, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, we've got, that's a great defensive one as well. It actually is defensive against both your weaknesses, but at the same time, you might be able to get Tail Glow up as well. So one of those two, grass or ground, are going to be really, really good. Plus, you've got Terra Grass, Energy Ball, and that's going to be hitting very, very hard as well. So that's definitely another option. Another one, you could even just try something like, I'm trying to think. This is more singles related as we get to the doubles in a sec. You could do Terra Fairy as well. So Terra Fairy just being... The only reason I say that is it's just a good type. It resists a lot of things, and it hits a lot of like coverage moves as well. Like just good for coverage and Ice Beam and Surf. You've got that sort of basic coverage. And say if you've got a water type Pokemon, at least you can use Terra Blast against them. But I kind of prefer, I like Terra Ground or Terra Grass. They'd be my main picks for Manaphy for sure there. So if you got any other suggestions, let me know there if you are interested in using Manaphy. EV Spread, max Special Attack and Max Speed. Always run Timid Nature on there. You can boost your Special Attack anyway with Tail Glow, so you don't need to run Modest, and you don't want to be getting outsped, right? So yeah, that's the first Manaphy set I would suggest. The second one here, we're going to be making use of one of its newer moves. This move was from, I think this got this from Legends Arceus. So this is Take Heart, right? So what Take Heart does, it cures the user's status, which is great. I mean, it might be a little bit redundant with hydration, but if if the weather gets changed or you're not running with weather for some reason, you can do that, right? And it also raises your special attack and special defense by 1 stage. So basically Calm Mind with a status healing on there, right? So it also gets Acid Armor. So I'm thinking a good stored power set could be nice here. Really, really nice. So dependent whether you're running this on a rain team or not, could change this around a little bit. The EVs for this one are a little bit more complex, but still fairly basic. So I put Citrus Berry and Rest on this because I was assuming that I wasn't in the rain. But if you were in the rain, you could just have Rest on there, and then you could put something like, I mean, Citrus Berry is still good, but you could have Chester Berry on there if you don't have any rain on your team. But I would run this with rain, so run it with a Pelipper or a Politoed or Kyogre or something like that, or a Rain Dance Pokemon with Damp Rock, right? So you could do that. And then you've got Stored Power. So with Take Heart, you've got +2 there. Stored Power works very, very well with moves like Calm Mind and Take Heart because you're getting a special attack rise and a special defense rise there. So it's stacking, right? So every single time you get a stat boost, you get an extra 20 base power. So it starts off at 20, so after a Take Heart, you've got 60, right? So to patch its defense, you've got Acid Armor as well. And so after you get an Acid Armor up and a Take Heart up, this becomes very, very bulky. It's already got 100 base on everything. And it's only got a couple of weaknesses, right? So it's going to be extremely bulky. And if you've got Rest on it too, in the rain, you can just completely heal yourself. And at the end of the turn, you wake up and you're ready to go again. And you can fire off very, very powerful stored power. So that is definitely another way of actually doing it. You could definitely try that. If you don't want Rest on there and you think, oh, I'm going to get walled by a dark type Pokemon, which, is a definite possibility, you can use something like Scald on there, right? So Scald is still going to hit hard, and it also can spread a burn too. But if you build your team like properly, I'm sure you can get rid of any other dark type Pokemon. So maybe if you had a dark type Pokemon counter, you know, which is, you know, there's a lot of those, like any fighting types, fairy types, and such like that. Or you could put alluring voice on there as well. That's another move you could actually put on there. You know, so there you go. That's another one. You could even put throat spray on there if you wanted as well. You know, since you're not having tail glow on there, or you could do that in the first set. I'll show stored power on the first set. So, for example, with this, let's say this bulky one I was talking about. We'll talk about the EVs and stuff like that. But it is handy if you have a Rain Dance Pokemon, because with Damp Rocks, they'll last for 8 turns, heal off, and then sweep, right? So we got 252 in health, 40 in defense, and 216 in special defense and Bold Nation. Now, the reason I did this is because you get more EVs out of putting the last 40 into there than here. So you get like 1 more point of bulk overall. Like, so instead of just maxing the special defense out, you get an extra additional like 1 in there. It's not very much difference, but that's why I've done it that way. And they're reasonably close together as well. So like all round bulk. So after this gets 1 Take Heart and an Acid Armor up, it's going to be very, very tanky. You know, if it gets multiples, you know, it's going to be extremely annoying to actually faint this Pokemon. So the counter would be if the rain runs out. Or you could be thinking of something like, oh, I could run this with Rain Dance as well. Sure, you could do that. You could run this with Rain Dance. But the thing is, it's difficult, because if you had something like, let's say we had Rain Dance here, right? And we could put something like, we'll get rid... Maybe... Actually, Citrus is not bad on these kind of sets, because it helps initially. It's not so good later on, but it helps initially. So, we've got Rain Dance, Rest on there. I'm just saying, if you want to run Rain Dance on your own one, you'd want Damp Rock on there. And then you'd have to have something like an attacking move of some description there. So, you sort of press there. You have to get rid of 1 for stored power and such like that. And this is why I suggest, you know, running... a Rain Dance Pokemon, right? At least while the rain is happening, you can set up, and then you can start sweeping, right? So that's how I would, suggest running this set, right? Instead of trying to, set your own rain up and stuff like that, right? So go with the stored power set there, and you can either have Citrus Berry, and this is good, which is good initially. It means you don't have to use Rest right away, or if you're just going to use Rest anyway, you can put something like Leftovers on it. And Leftovers is probably a better item once you're set up, instead of a one-time use Citrus Berry, because you're going to be very, very tanky. So that's how I would go about running it. Now, I've got Terra Normal on here. The reason I put that is so it only would have 1 weakness, and that weakness is going to be fighting, and you've got Stored Power, which is a Psychic type move. So, you know, if a fighting type comes in, you can drop them. If you don't like that, you could do... I was going to say Terra Poison, but you've got Rest on there, so I wouldn't do that. You could have Terra Fairy or Terra Electric. That could work too, but you're weak to ground. Anything that... Or Psychic. You could do Psychic as well to boost the power up, but I think you'll be doing tons and tons of damage anyway. So that's why I suggested Normal, because... you're only weak to 1 thing there. You're only weak to fighting. So a fighting type Pokemon is not going to enjoy coming into a psychic type move. So yeah, you can do with that one as you wish. But that's another way of running Manaphy, making it very, very tanky, right? Now, we'll say in this video with Phione, I was going to do Phione in this video, but I'm sort of doing the fully evolved Pokemon first, and I might come back to the babies. A note with Phione too is you can't have Everlight on it. It doesn't actually get that boost. So let's look at some double set or whenever this is allowed in those rule sets. I thought I'd do a double set anyway. So we're going to be doing like a fully offensive Manaphy here. So definitely partnering it up with stuff like Pelipper with Drizzle, Kyogre, whatever you're playing with there. Any Drizzle Pokemon is a must, right? For this sort of set, and any of the sets is very useful too. So we've got Surf as our main attacking move there, which is going to be useful hitting both of the opponents. You could opt for, if you want more power, or you could opt for Hydro Pump if you want to, but there is that shaky accuracy. Or you could go for Scarlet as well. That's another move you could put on this Pokemon. So sort of make up your mind there, depending on what you're doing in your team. Remember, Surf is going to get powered down a lot, but it's going to hit both the opponents. So Maybe if you you match this up with a water absorb Pokemon on your team, that could be quite useful, or at least have Protect going with your ally, right? So just sort of think about how you use that. We've got Dazzling Gleam, so I'm gonna have Fairy type on this one, mixing things up a bit. So we've got Terra type Fairy with Dazzling Gleam. Also hits both Pokemon. Good defensive sort of type of Terra too. Rest with Hydration, so you might have noticed I've got Life Orb on here, so I put Life Orb on there for a reason, so we could just hit as hard as possible, and then we could rest off afterwards and get our health back. And of course, if we do get a chance, we can use Tail Glow as well in that time. So Tail Glow, then Surf, or Tail Glow, say we take a few hits, then rest off again. And it could be working good a tangent with like a Among Us or something like that with Rage Powder. That could work rather nicely. So any grass and electric moves, that would make a good sort of, at least a way for Manaphy to set up. So Among Us, Rage Powder, then Tail Glow with Manaphy kind of thing. EV's pretty straightforward, max special attack and max speed. Also, I want to say too, this Tail Glow Sweeper could definitely work in doubles. You might want to adjust its item a little bit there. I still feel like this could work okay. You might just want to, like, I don't know, get rid of something like, maybe you could get rid of Ice Beam and give it Protect or something like that. That could be useful, or just go full out attacker. But I see this one definitely could work too. Terra Ground is awesome on water Pokemon. So that's another way of using this. This one is another double style set, but it's more of like a gimmicky support set. But I thought I'd play around and see what I could come up with. So we've got Helping Hand, which it gets, which is nice. It's got Rest. So obviously, once again, we want to be using this with on a rain team, definitely. And we've got Heart Swap here. Heart Swap is interesting because it can swap the stats with the target. So say if something gets like a boost of energy, sets up on you, boom, you can go Heart Swap and give those stats to you and give them nothing. And then we got Surf as well, just for some damage. This one has got Ability Shield as the item, so we're gonna stop our hydration from being suppressed, or basically. So when we try and go to sleep, like it doesn't get like changed or anything, because we're sort of relying on using Rest in the rain over and over again. So I thought that could be a fun niche little way to use Manaphy. EVs, I just built this one super defensively, so we got Calm Nature, max health and max defense, the last 4 in special defense, so pretty bulky all around there. The Terra type, look, you could give it water just for extra stab, but you could give it just ground or something, a more defensive one, Fairy, Grass. One of those ones would definitely work there for sure. Let's have a look at this. So there's another sort of thing you can use Manaphy for. If you play certain rule sets or whatever, you can use it as a great baton pass Pokemon. So it's one of the few Pokemon that can baton pass Tail Glow outside of something like Illumis or Volbeat. And it also can pass a Sub and an Akaring as well, which is really cool. So I gave it a Mental Herb, so if you do get taunted, at least you can get one Tail Glow and Baton Pass, or a Sub, or an Akaring, something like that. Gave it Terra type Ground, so in case you come across any electric types, you could get a free Tail Glow up, then get a Sub and maybe pass it, or just pass the Tail Glow off. EVs, pure Baton Passer is risky, so we're going to go max health and max speed here, Timid Nature. So pure Baton Passer. If you don't want Akaring, you could put Surf on there for coverage, right? And that would make it bulky and fast still. So another way of using Manaphy, if you can want to try it out for that. Now, I have to look at physical Manaphy, and then we're going to look at some, some good teammates and other stuff like that, and counters and stuff. So, PIMPNITE special here, we've got a Cell Battery Manaphy, only on PIMPNITE's channel here. So, we like to do some memes and some gimmicks as well as the more competitive stuff. So, I looked at Manaphy's physical moves. It is very shallow, and it has a few things though. So, this is going to be a flinching set. So, we got Waterfall, 80 base power. We've got that 20% chance to flinch. You got Zen Headbutt, 20% chance to flinch, 80 base power. Terra Blast Ground, great for just any electric types and such, and coverage. And we got Endure as well. So Endure Cell Battery. What Cell Battery does, it raises the attack if you get hit by an electric type attack. And it's probably gonna happen, right? Because you could potentially, right, get your Cell Battery boost, right? Get that, and then you could tear it into a ground type, and then you could get like some multiple hits off. You could use weakness policy, but this one is like hyper focus for electric types as a bit of fun because you never ever get to see cell battery. Really, it's there's not many uses for cell battery over weakness policy, right? But I thought we'd come up with a funny set for it, and it's physical. So we still got a decent attack stat and still got a speed stat, jolly nature. And if it is raining, it's going to be hitting pretty hard as well. So there you go, a beautiful Manaphy physical set. And you could try Choice Scarf as well. I think I've done that. I think I did U-turn on there. Yeah, it does get U-turn. I did a Choice Scarf one too. Did that back in the day, and it worked pretty well. And it took the opponents off guard. It doesn't really hit all that hard, but it's fast, and it can flinch. And it hits hard in the rain if that is going. So some cool Manaphy sets for you. Some good counters for Manaphy. I mean, electric grass type Pokemon. Let's anything like good partners for it first. So we got Pelipper with Drizzle. Definitely got Pelipper. I have to do it. I actually haven't done a moveset for this, so that's probably going to come up next week. I'd say I'll do Pelipper. If there's any movesets you want me to do that I haven't done yet, check the playlist out first. Put them in the comment section. Always like to. I don't mind covering anything. Legendary Pokemon that aren't used very much, but sort of going for fully evolved ones at the moment. So yeah, you got Pelipper, Kyogre. It depends if you're playing like, you know, what format you're playing. But if you're playing like legendaries and stuff like that, or Ubers and, you know, those sort of formats, you can go for that. And of course you got Politoed as well. But any Drizzle Pokemon is going to be good there with the Damp Rock as a partner, right? Now, maybe in doubles, you can always partner with Lightning Rod Pokemon, right? So there are a couple. Quite a good one you can use it with. I really like is Pincurchin. Now, Pincurchin's got Lightning Rod, so that makes not a bad combination. So this will draw in any of those electric moves and allow Manaphy to set up. So that's a good partner as well. We talked about Amoonguss already. Amoonguss is a great partner for any Pokemon there. Done an Amoonguss guide already. So, for example, you had Rage Powder, and that could like help Manaphy set up. So some good stuff there for sure for doubles. Any partners for singles and stuff. So any ground type Pokemon I think are going to be good, at least for swap-ins or anything that resists. You know, you've got like grass and stuff as well. You just have to worry about grass and ground and stuff like that. They're the sort of main two kind of counters to it, right? So a good one. Gliska's not a bad partner there. The Gliska's not too bad. I'm trying to think I'm sort of just thinking in general here. What would work? Any like ground or grass type Pokemon would be good. So anything that resists those sort of moves is going to be like super useful as a partner. More for singles, but basically what Manaphy wants, it needs like a free setup turn for Tail Glow, and then it can sweep. So good stuff. Any sticky web users are going to be useful as well. So you've got stuff like, I would go for Galvantula, because Galvantula can deal with any grass-type Pokemon, which is going to be useful. And at least it can swap into electric and stuff like that, so that could be a good partner and help Manaphy sort of support it with Sticky Web too. And it can always, Volt Switch and stuff. And plus, Manaphy can get rid of any Rock-type Pokemon that threaten Galvantula too. And Manaphy can also swap into Fire-type moves, so that's not too bad either. I mean, there's a lot of partners that you could possibly have for this, combination here. Let's have a look. But there's a ton of electric types. Like it's not a very hard Pokemon to counter. Any electric types and grass types are usually going to beat it. Basically, a bad one for Manaphy is Unaware. So Unaware Pokemon, Dondozo, Dondozo is going to be very rough unless you got Energy Ball. You're cooked, basically. Water Absorb Clodsire is not going to be fun either. Even with Ice Beam, yeah, you're not going to have a fun time there. So there are some other Pokemon there, but Unaware Pokemon definitely counter Manaphy because it's not going to hit as hard there without its Tail Glow. Let's have a look at some moves on it and some final sort of thoughts here. So we went over Acid Armor, Tompars. It does get Calm Mind too. But there's no point using Calm Mind. You should always use its other move there as well. Take Heart, because that does special attack and special defense, and it cures status as well. So Most of the time you'll be using that. If you're not using Take Heart, you should be using Tail Glow. There's no reason to use Calm Mind at all. I don't even think this would be a use of that. Unless there's a different format or something like that. It does get Haze as well, but I think that's suited better to other Pokemon. It gets Heart Swap too. So you can do, I have to mention that, you can do like bulky, tanky sets that are speedy. Say you're in doubles or something like that. Let's make a quick little double set because this is going to work good in doubles. So if I was to build a double set and I was like, yo, I want to make sure my my other Pokemon gets some more offense, I'm going to give it a Tail Glow, right? I would use something like this. I'm pretty like you could use Pelipper as well or another rain Pokemon, right? But let's say you had a partner. What you could do, right, is you could go Tail Glow and use Heart Swap on your ally, right? And you can give your ally, obviously a more offensive Pokemon than Manaphy. You could give it +3 in attack with Heart Swap, right? And that would be kind of nice. That'd be kind of nice to pass that off. So another way, I guess, of using Manaphy, or as I mentioned before, say if someone's really set up, you can steal all their stats and give them to Manaphy. Quite a evil little move there. What else we got here? It does get Reflect and Light Screen, and it wouldn't be all that bad. So you could like Reflect, Light Screen, and Light Clay. That could definitely work because it's only weak to a few things, and you could maybe do like I don't know. Rest or something like that as well in the rain, like light clay, reflect, light screen, rest. Let's say there was already, like a Scald or something like that. There was already rain on the field. Something like that could work nicely too. That would make an interesting screening Pokemon. More for I'd say this is more for like singles though, I would say. Just thinking on the spot there. Something like that, right? And that would only give you a few weaknesses to sort of set your team up. So another light clay Pokemon. But definitely good with a sort of relies. That's the thing about Manaphy. It does rely heavily on the rain to make use of its hydration ability. So going back here, there's not a lot it can do. It is unique that it can baton pass on stats. Tail Glow is very good. Most Manaphys are always going to run Tail Glow. If you see one, it's going to run Tail Glow. If you see it using Acid Armor or something, it's going to be tanky. That's pretty much the only sets that you'll see on it. It can pass Accaring. It's quite interesting there. It gets like Helping Hand and stuff for some more like bulky sets. We kind of went over that already. Looking at its special moves. Alluring Voice, that's not a bad fairy type move there as well. It's not too bad. Most of the time, you're probably going to use Dazzling Gleam, but you could use Alluring Voice because it's got that extra sort of, if the opponent does get a stat rise, you could do that. And you can also put Throat Spray on there, so that could definitely work. Blizzard, it could work in Terra Ice in like Hail or something like that. Ice Beam does get Shadow Ball, but struggles to sort of do anything with it. Stored Power. Now, I did say this already. I'll go back and do that first set there with Stored Power because you can actually slot that on. And there's not too much else here. It does have Chilling Water. You might be able to run like a tanky set or something like that. And it gets Whirlpool, so it can have a trapping move, but it can't really do too much for it unless it's like another Pokemon. And there's this horrendous physical move, so there you go. You could do, I think I did a Choice Band or a Choice Scar set. I was like similar to my other physical one, but it learns very, very few physical moves. With this Tail Glow set, you can do something like this too. Get rid of Ice Beam and just give it Stored Power. That's going to do lots of damage there. So, you got Tail Glow. If you got two of them off, that's very powerful. So that's 140 base power there. You could even have Terra Psychic, but I like Terra Ground on there. But anyway, that's going to be all for Manaphy. I hope you enjoyed this one. Overall, Manaphy has some very nice stats. It is a little bit limited on what it has though, but still a very dangerous sweeper with Tail Glow and performs best in the rain. Whatever you're doing with it, always performs better than the rain with its ability and powering up and supporting its moves. Hope you all enjoyed this one. I might have another guide a little bit later on. Once again, if you've got a Pokemon you want me to do, put it in the comment section. Like the video if it helped you out, enjoyed it. You want to support the channel and the series, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.